Welcome to History 125. One of the themes we'll return to repeatedly this semester is the idea that history is not simply the story of kings, presidents, wars, and famous individuals. History is also the story of ordinary people adapting to their environments, developing technologies, building communities, and responding to challenges. Geography, climate, technology, economics, religion, and culture all influence the course of human events. Today, we'll be focusing on chapters 1 through 3, covering humanity's earliest origins, the development of civilization, and the invention of writing and some of the world's first legal systems. When most people think about history, they imagine written records. They think about ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, or perhaps medieval Europe. Yet, for the overwhelming majority of human existence, there were no written records at all. If we were to compress all of human history into a single 24-hour day, recorded history would only occupy the final few minutes before midnight. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans lived without writing, cities, government, or even permanent settlements. Understanding these early societies presents a challenge because they left no documents behind. So how do historians study people who never wrote anything down? The answer is that we rely heavily on evidence from other disciplines. Archaeologists excavate sites and uncover artifacts. Anthropologists study human culture and behavior. Geologists reconstruct ancient landscapes. Paleoclimatologists examine environmental conditions from the distant past. Geneticists trace patterns of migration through DNA evidence. Together, these disciplines help us reconstruct humanity's earliest story. Current evidence indicates that modern humans evolved in Africa approximately 300,000 years ago. This fact is supported by fossil evidence, archaeological discoveries, and genetic studies. Africa is therefore not merely one region among many, it is humanity's original homeland. Over tens of thousands of years, small groups gradually migrated outwards. It is important to understand that migration was not a single event. There was no grand expedition in which people packed their belongings and decided to colonize another continent. Instead, migration occurred slowly over generations. A family might move a few miles, seeking better hunting opportunities. Their descendants might move farther. Over centuries and millennia, these incremental movements eventually spread human populations across much of the globe. As humans expanded into new regions, they encountered dramatically different environments. Some settled into grasslands, others adapted to forests, deserts, mountains, or coastal regions. The ability to adapt to diverse environments became one of humanity's defining characteristics. Unlike many animals, humans possess remarkable flexibility. Rather than evolving specialized biological adaptations for every environment, humans developed cultural adaptations. We invented tools, clothing, shelter, and social systems that allowed us to survive in a wide variety of climates. Climate played an enormous role in shaping migration patterns. During the last ice age, massive glaciers covered large portions of the northern hemisphere. Because so much water was locked up in ice, sea levels were significantly lower than they are today. Lower sea levels exposed land bridges that no longer exist. One of the most famous examples is Beringia, a vast land bridge connecting northeastern Asia and Alaska. At various points during the Ice Age, humans were able to travel across this region into North America. This migration ultimately led to the peopling of the Americas. Climate changes also altered the availability of plants and animals. As temperatures rose or fell, people often followed migrating herds or moved into newly habitable regions. In many ways, climate acted as an invisible force shaping human history long before civilizations emerged. Even today, environmental factors continue to influence migration, agricultural, and economic development. One of the most fascinating forms of evidence from prehistory is cave art. Some of the most famous examples are found in France and Spain, where paintings dating back tens of thousands of years depict animals, hunting scenes, symbols, and handprints. At first glance, these images might seem simple. However, they reveal something profoundly important about early humans. These paintings demonstrate abstract thought. The artists who created them were not merely concerned with survival. They possessed imagination, creativity, and symbolic thinking. Historians and archaeologists continue to debate their exact purpose. Some scholars argue they were connected to religious rituals. Others suggest they were educational tools used to teach younger generations. Still, others believe they may have represented storytelling traditions or hunting magic designed to ensure successful hunts. The truth is that we cannot know with certainty. This uncertainty highlights one of the central challenges of historical research. Evidence can tell us many things, but it does not answer every question. The farther back we travel into the past, the more gaps appear in the historical record. A critical lesson from Chapter 1 is what survives determines what historians can know. Think about your own life. Imagine historians thousands of years from now attempting to reconstruct your daily routine. What evidence would survive? Perhaps a few buildings, maybe some photographs, possibly digital records if future technologies can still access them. Much of your life would disappear. The same problem exists when studying ancient peoples. Stone tools survive remarkably well. Bones sometimes survive. Pottery also survives. Religious beliefs, conversations, emotions, songs, and traditions are far more difficult to recover. As historians, we must always recognize the limitations of our evidence. History is not simply about discovering facts, it's also about understanding what we cannot know. One of the most significant developments in human history was the transition from hunting and gathering to agriculture. This process occurred independently in several parts of the world. Rather than constantly moving in search of food, some groups began cultivating crops and domesticating animals. Agriculture fundamentally transformed human society. For the first time, people could produce food surpluses. Surplus food allowed populations to grow. Larger populations required new forms of organization. Permanent settlements emerged. Villages grew into towns. Eventually, towns developed into cities. Agriculture laid the foundation for civilization itself. However, this transition was not entirely positive. Early farmers often worked longer hours than hunter-gatherers. Their diets sometimes became less diverse. Disease spread more easily in dense populations. The rise of civilization brought both opportunities and challenges. Around 3,500 to 3000 BCE, some of the world's first civilizations emerged. While historians debate exact definitions, civilizations generally possess several characteristics: large populations, permanent cities, complex social hierarchies, specialized labor, centralized governments, organized religions, and importantly, writing. Civilizations first emerged in regions where agriculture could support large populations. Many of these early civilizations developed near major river systems. Rivers provided water, transportation, fertile soil, and reliable food production. Among the earliest civilizations were those of Mesopotamia and Egypt. Mesopotamia developed between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers in modern-day Iraq. The name Mesopotamia literally means land between rivers. The region possessed fertile soil, making agriculture possible. However, it also faced serious challenges. Flooding could be sudden and destructive. Droughts occurred. Neighboring groups frequently invaded. And as a result, Mesopotamian societies often experienced instability and conflict. Many historians argue that these environmental conditions influenced Mesopotamia religion and worldview. Their gods were often portrayed as powerful, unpredictable, and sometimes dangerous. Life itself appeared uncertain. This uncertainty shaped how Mesopotamians understood the world. Egypt developed along the Nile River. Unlike Mesopotamia, Egypt benefited from remarkably predictable flooding. Each year, the Nile overflowed its banks, depositing nutrient-rich soil that supported agriculture. Because this flooding was regular and dependable, Egyptian society enjoyed a level of stability uncommon in the ancient world. This stability influenced Egyptian religion and culture. The universe appeared orderly. The gods maintained balance. The Nile reliably provided life. Not surprisingly, Egyptian religious beliefs emphasize harmony, continuity, and order. Environmental conditions do not determine culture entirely, but they can exert powerful influences. Egypt and Mesopotamia provide an excellent example of this relationship. One of the most defining achievements of early civilizations was the invention of writing. Writing transformed human society. Before writing, knowledge depended entirely on memory and oral traditions. With writing, information could be preserved across generations. Governments could maintain records. Merchants could track transactions. Religious texts could be preserved. Laws could be recorded. Empires could administer vast territories. Writing essentially expanded the limits of human memory. In Mesopotamia, scribes developed cuneiform, a system that used wedge-shaped marks pressed into clay tablets. In Egypt, scribes developed hieroglyphs, a writing system combining symbols and pictures. These systems required extensive training. As a result, literacy was generally limited to a small group of specialists. Nevertheless, writing became one of the foundations upon which civilization rested. One of the most famous rulers of the ancient world was Hammurabi, king of Babylon. During the 18th century BCE, Hammurabi issued a collection of laws that became known as Hammurabi's Code. These laws were carved into stone monuments and displayed publicly. Many people viewed this code as an early attempt at justice. While this is partially true, the code also served political purposes. By publishing these laws, Hammurabi demonstrated his authority and legitimacy. He presented himself as a ruler chosen by the gods to establish order. The code covered a wide range of topics, including property disputes, business transactions, family matters, and criminal offenses. It provides historians with valuable insight into Mesopotamian society. The laws reveal a society organized around hierarchy. Social status mattered, gender mattered, class mattered. Punishment often varied depending on who committed the offense and who suffered harm. For example, elite individuals sometimes received different treatment than commoners. Many laws focused on family relationships, inheritance, and marriage. These laws reveal the importance of maintaining social stability. They also demonstrate that ancient societies often view justice differently than our modern societies do. Today, many legal systems emphasize equality before the law. Ancient legal systems often prioritize preserving social order and protecting established hierarchies. Understanding these differences help us avoid judging the past solely through modern assumptions. An interesting question is why Egypt never developed a legal code comparable to Hammurabi's. The answer lies partially in political structure and religious belief. Egyptian pharaohs were considered divine rulers. They were not merely kings. They were viewed as gods on earth. As a result, the rulers' decisions themselves carried legal authority. There was less need to create permanent written legal codes. Egyptian religion also emphasized moral behavior through concepts such as ma'at, which represented truth, justice, and cosmic order. Mesopotamian rulers, by contrast, claimed to receive authority from the gods rather than being gods themselves. Written legal codes helped reinforce their legitimacy and authority. Another major development discussed in these chapters is the Bantu migration. Beginning in West Central Africa, Bantu-speaking peoples gradually spread throughout much of sub-Saharan Africa. This migration occurred over many centuries. Technology played a significant role in this process. The development of ironworking allowed people to create stronger tools and weapons. Iron tools improved agriculture and enabled communities to clear forests more efficiently. As agricultural productivity increased, populations grew. Population growth encouraged migration into new territories. The Bantu expansion demonstrates an important historical principle. Technology can reshape societies in profound ways. Technological innovations affect economic production, population growth, migration patterns, and cultural exchange. This lesson is going to appear repeatedly throughout the study of world history. As we conclude today's microlecture, remember three major themes. First, geography and climate matter. Human societies develop within environmental contexts that shape opportunities and challenges. Second, technology matters. Innovations such as agriculture, writing, and ironworking transform the possibilities available to human communities. Third, evidence matters. Everything historians know about the past comes from surviving evidence, and that evidence always has limitations. As we move forward in this course, keep asking yourself the same question historians asked. How do we know what we know? What evidence supports our conclusions? And how did government, environment, and technology shape the lives of the people in the past? These questions will guide us throughout the semester and help us better understand not only ancient civilizations, but the entire human story.